Now let's move on to the next interesting session by Dr. Vinod K. Alapati, Associate Professor and HOD, Department of Rachna Sharira, Rajiv Gandhi Ayurveda Medical on the topic Core Perception of Sadhyo Pranahara Marmas in Contemporary Period. I now cordially welcome Dr. Sudhir Rajian, Principal, Ayurveda College, Coimbatore, to deliver the welcome address. Over to you, sir.
Namaste. We are graced with the presence of Vaidya Vinod K. Alapati, who is going to deliver today's second session, Core Perception of Sadhya Pranahara Marma in Contemporary Period. He is an alumni and former faculty of Ayurveda College, Coimbatore. He is a very good teacher and had written a book named Compendium View on Soto Sharira. He is from a traditional Ayurvedic family. Presently, he is working as HOD and Associate Professor Rajana Sharira at Rajiv Gandhi Ayurveda Medical College, Mahi. On behalf of the Samsiddhi team and Ayurveda College, Coimbatore, with immense pleasure and gratitude, I welcome you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Sudhir.
Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you, sir. I am profusely elated to take an opportunity to introduce our guest speaker, Dr. Vinod K. Alapati. Dr. Vinod K. Alapati is working as an Associate Professor and HOD, Department of Rachna Sharira, Rajiv Gandhi Ayurveda Medical College, Mahe, and he is the founder and MD of Sri Ramajayam Ayurveda and Yoga Research Center, Tirupati. He completed his BAMS from Ayurveda College, Coimbatore, and his MD from SCM Aryangal Mahavidyalayam, Shatara, Maharashtra, and his PhD from NAA Jaipur. He has a professional experience of 25 years and teaching experience of 18 years, and has attended many national and international seminars and has published many articles. He published a book named Compendium View on Shroto Sharir. He is from a traditional Ayurveda family. He is the grandson of late Nadi Samrit Vaidya Varadya Chaudhary and son of late Nadi Praveen Dr. A.R. Prasad. It's a privilege for us to have you discuss on the topic Core Perception of Sadhyo Pranahara Marmas in Contemporary Period. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, madam. Can that screen can be moved away? The admit one is coming. Okay, fine. Namami Dhanvandhari Madidevam Surashurirvandita Pada Padmam Loke Jararugbhay Murtyunasham Dadharamisham Vividoshadhinam Om Dhanvantaraya Namaha. First of all, I am thankful for the principal, Dr. Sudhir, who is my colleague junior when we are studying BMS, for giving me this opportunity to share some of the views related to the Marma Vijnana and the team of whole Ayurveda College. Coming to the topic, these are the points which I would like to highlight today's session. Introduction and what is actually the Marma, the definition of Marma, the concept of Marma in relation to, Prana in relation to Marma, Marma Vastu and classification of Marma, Sadhyo Pranahara Marma, and Ayurvedic and modern outlook, and treatment moralities to be adopted in Marmas. Conclusion and questions. So as an introduction, there are many concepts have been explained, like people are being more interested towards Marma concept, which is a very unique concept, which was being dealt by Acharya Shushruta. But he was not or he has not explained very detailedly regarding the marmas of its management. He has explained the detail about the structures, where they will be existing, and their functions, and their causes. When these have been injured, what happens? Everything has been explained detailedly. But he has not considered any line of treatment for individual marma. He has not explained. It was a hidden. It is also like marma itself. Like he has hidden the things which has to be very essential on clinical side. But as a physician, we have to consider at the time of the patient, when we get an acute patient of a marma aghata. So it is very difficult to give a specific line of treatment a particular time. But he has explained what are the structures which are going to be involved, how they're going to be affected in the injury. Everything has been explained. The drug of choice has to be yours at the particular time of the patient whom you are going to receive it. So in the present world, right now, the lifestyle has been completely changed, and people does not follow the many regimens which has been explained, like dinacharya, rutucharya, and all ahara vidhi, which is making more health issues due to their improper following of this ahara viharas, and more luxurious life. And the last one, but the not least one, the people sleep at late nights. Night outs is becoming very common right now, which is the common problem for aggravation of vata. And most of the vital marmas have been damaged right now because of this late night outs. So I would like to bring some highlight on this marma and sadhya-prana marmas to understand how they have to be applied on clinical side. As Charaka has said, to understand this science, you may require multiple shastras. Ekam shastram adhiyano, na vidya shastra nicheha. By reading one shastra, you cannot come to a conclusion. You may have to read many shastras to come to a conclusion. So Charaka has explained this one. So coming to the definition of marma. Marma is prana or jiva or life. There are a lot of meanings are there for marma. The secret one, the secret point, or the hidden knowledge, but which is not visualized. It is sure that it cannot be visualized by the naked eye. And it is derived from mru, which means mrityu. So very important structure in the body where jivasthanam to marmasya. It is a life point of the body where a life resides, particularly in these marmas. And apicha marana karitvat marmaha. And when any injury occurs to this, it appears as if death has been reached to us. Vishman spandanam yatra pidate rupcha marmavad. There will be severe pains and more pulsations can be seen when this marma has been injured. Marana karitvat marma, marana sadrisha dukkha gayitvat dvaha, where it looks severe pain and severe sorrow will be there, and the person cannot tolerate the pain when this marma is injured. The definition of marma: marmani nama mamsa sira snayu sandhi sannipadaha teshu swabhavateva viseshena prana tishtanti. This is the definition which has been given by Acharya Sushruta, and the same one may also be told by Ashtanga Hridaya, but he has added one more marma vastu, mamsa asti snayu dhamani sira sandhi samagataha. He also added the dhamani also been added as a marma vastu as per Vagbhata is considered. So here we find 5 structures as per Sushruta and 6 structures as per Vagbhata. Where you find this combination of these structures, marmani, mamsa, sira, snayu, asti, sandhi, sannipataha, where the combination of all these structures are existed, that particular place is called as marma. Along with that, teshu swabhavena, swabhavata eva viseshena, swabhavata naturally, eva viseshena, predominantly, prana tishtanti, prana resides there. So the marma is a place where the union of mamsa, sira, snayu, asti, sandhi is existed. Along with that, prana also resides there. So how this prana is related to marma and how it has to be understood on clinical aspect, we will see in the next slides. Concept of prana in relation to marma. Nirukti and definition of prana. Like the word which has been explained, which indicates the life, which indicates the life. Prana nati jivadharana prana means where life can exist, or if some structures are involved in maintenance of life, that is called as prana. Prakarshena aneti pranaha, which will be able to understand the existence of life, that can be considered as prana. So basic meaning of prana is that the structures which are involved in survival of the human being, those structures can be considered as pranas. Jivayanti iti prana. So what is that prana? That we'll see. What is prana? We have 2 references regarding prana. The first reference is related with the garbha, and the second reference is related with marma. In the 4th chapter, Garbha Vyakarana Sharira, Acharya Sushruta has explained, starting with this particular sloka itself. Agni Somo Vayu Satvarajastama Panchendriyani Bhutatma iti pranaha. This is the first sloka of 4th chapter of Sushruta Sharira Sthana, that is Garbha Vyakarana Sharira. So in the formation of a garbha, these are the pranas which are essential to be existed. They are Agni, Somo, Vayu, Sattva, Rajas, Tamaha, Panchendriyani, Bhutatma iti pranaha. So these are called as pranas. Bhutatma iti prana. In the context of marma, in the 6th chapter, Marma Pratyaya Sharira, he has explained Soma Maruta Tejamsi Rajas Sattva Tamamsi cha Marmasu Prayasaha Pumsam Bhutatma cha Avatishtate. Marma Sobihatas Tasman Jivanti Sharirana. Not Jivanti Sharirana. So you see the order of these words which he has explained, Acharya Sushruta. In the context of Garbha Vyakarana, the pranas which have been considered as Agni Somo Vayu, Satvarajastama, Panchendriyani, Bhutatmaha. And when it is coming to the context of marma, it is soma maruta tejamsi rajasattva tamamsi cha and bhutatma cha avatishtati. There is no panchendriyas. He has not explained about panchendriyas related to the marma. It is true. In every marma, we cannot find all the panchendriyas. And they are not superficial. Even Twagendriya has to be related also. They are not superficial. They are deep-seated only. So there is no involvement of indriyas there. So panchendriyas have been removed. When it comes into the context of marma, these are the pranas which are situated in the marma. Soma maruta tejansi rajasattva tamamsi cha bhuta atma cha avatishtati. No panchendriyas. The reason is that it is true. You cannot find all the indriyas in every marma. So he has removed that. But at the time of manifestation of the garbha, formation of garbha, panchendriyas are must. So at the time of formation of garbha, the order is like that. Agni somo vayuhu. First Agni is required. Then Soma is formed, then Vayu starts functioning. Whenever we are starting any project or anything which we want to be manufacture something or create something, first we try to find out the sources of energy. Energy sources we find out. It may be electricity, it may be petrol, or it may be diesel, whichever it is required for that. Does we have that source is not there or not? So energy sources are available, then we plan for the what structure we are going to manufacture, and that is related with the soma, the raw material. The raw material is existed or not, and then last, once the raw material we got it, and we make a structure or we make a product out of that, and then Vayu is added to that for its function. This is how the human is being formed. In that, Sattva, Rajas, Tamas is formed. This is the normal order. Sattva, Rajas, Tamas will be present in that. But when it comes to the marma, the order has changed. Soma maruta tejamsi, Rajas Sattva tamamsi. This is based on injury wise. He has explained based on injury wise. So first, when marma abhighata occurs, the soma is going to be affected. That is, the structure is going to be affected. When the structure is affected, its function is going to be affected. That is, maruta, vayu is going to be affected. And once the vayu is also been affected, tejas will be leaving from the body. Tejas will be leaving from the body. This is how the death occurs. That is Agni Soma Vayu, how the human creates. Human being is created, human is destructed. The constructive and the destructive phases. And here also Rajas Sattva Tamamsi. When any person who has been injured in marma or any other part also, first one we get Rajas, fear, scare, bhaya, dukkha bahulata. Dukkha also will become more. These are the properties of atanashilata. When you have been scared, you will not sit ideal. In the scared, you will be running here and there. So Rajoguna first aggravates. Whenever any marma abhighata occurs in the body, Rajoguna will be aggravated. Rajo bahulor vayu. It is also been told. Rajo bahulor vayu. Rajas is predominant of vayu. So naturally the first dosha which is going to be aggravated is vata. This is the first phase of injury. But after certain period, the person becomes little settled. There, Sattva Guna will be predominant in the second stage. And if you are able to manage within this sattva stage, the person can be saved. And if you are not able to bring out from this sattva stage, then the person cannot survive and definitely goes into the tamas stage. This is how the injury based, this has been explained based on injury. So rajas will be aggravated first, then sattva will be coming, because body gives a time to get it corrected, and that particular time we have to grab it. And if you are not able to grab that particular time of sattva period, you will lose the patient. And at the time of acute phase, that is in the rajo phase, if you are trying to give anything, it is very difficult to control the patient, and even we will not be able to understand properly. So for that, just wait till the rajas is reduced, which he is going to enter into the sattva, which helps us to bring him back to normal state. But if you are failing in that stage, then we cannot bring back to sattva complete stage, where he may go into a tamas stage. That is, death is definite. And the last one is bhutatma, which is going to leave from your body. And here also in the Soma, Maruta, Tejas, Tejas is the one which is going to leave from your body when you are dead. After completely death, Tejas is ghost. So body turns into cold. Till the Tejas is there are chances to have survival. Once the Tejas is gone, there are no chances that he can come back again. So these two different contexts, the concept of prana has been explained by Acharya Sushruta. One is for constructive phase, another is at the destruction phase. Bhutatma is common in both the places, only Panchendriyas is absent in that. So this concept we should always keep in our mind. Unless structurally it is not been affected, the marma bhighata will never occur. And once structure is affected, you will definitely find the changes in the function. And when the functions are also been affected, there is no chance of production of heat. Tejas is also will be lost. When there is a functions are going on, even Tejas will be produced in the body. This is how the doshas can be considered. Soma can be related with the kapha, Maruta can be related with the vata, Tejas can be related with the pitta, and there Agni can be related with the pitta, Soma with the kapha, Vayu with the Vayu, vata doshas. And Rajas, Sattva, Tamamsi is the Manogunas, where they have a main role in all the Marma Viddha Lakshanas. Manas has a big role in Viddha Lakshanas of Marma. If the person is very strong in a Sattva quality, then we can easily handle the patient without having much complications. But the patient is of Rajas itself, then it is very difficult to handle that person. So these qualities of mind also plays a big role in handling the patient. So this prana has to be understood, and we should know which is the state of these structures, which is the stage of Soma, which is the state of Maruta, that is Vayu, and which is the stage of Tejas. Then you can able to understand the prognosis of the disease or the prognosis of the person's condition. So this is very, very important. We should always think on this concept of prana, why Acharya has been explained. Then Marma Vastu and classification of Marma. Panchatmakani Marma. Pancha Atmagani Marma. It has been considered as Pancha Atmagani Marma. Tani Marmani Panchatmagani. Mamsa Sira. Mamsa Marmani, Sira Marmani, Snayu Marmani, Asti Marmani, Sandhi Marmani. Pancha Sandhi Marmani Chaiti. Na Kalu. He is very clear in this. Na Kalu. Mamsa Sira snayu asti sandhi vyatirekani anyani marmani bhavanti. Yasman na upalabhyante. Yasman na upalabhyante. You can never find any structures beyond this. Only 5 structures can be related with the marma. Not beyond this. No, only mamsa, sira, snayu, asti and sandhi. We should always think why only these structures have been considered. There are many other structures in our body. You have rasa, you have rakta, you have medas, you have shukra, you have upadhatus, tanya, artava is there. Why those structures are not being involved? Only these structures have been involved. Because the concept of marma is mainly based on a structural concept. And the gross structures of our body are mainly related with this only. Mamsa, sira, snayu, asti and sandhi. The remaining are not so strong, or they are not very gross structures. And among these 5, 2 are dhatus and 3 are upadhatus. 2 are dhatus and 3 are upadhatus. See, a upadhatu also became a marma vastu. Dhatu could not become a marma vastu because mamsa, sira, snayu, asti, sandhi are the gross structures of our body, whereas the remaining dhatus, 5 dhatus which we have, that is rasa, rakta, meda, majja and shukra, the 5 dhatus, they are not solid in nature. Some of them are liquid, some of them are semi-solid. And rasa and rakta, they are moving along with sira itself. So once sira is being damaged, there is a damage to rasa and rakta, 100%. There is no doubt in that. So we don't require them as a marma vastu. And medas, which is a solid structure, semi-solid structure, which is a very vital part of our body, but it is not been connected to any structure. It is present everywhere. Most of the place it is present. Under the skin, we have a superficial fascia, which is made up of 2 layers, outer fatty layer, inner membranous layer. So the whole body is being covered by the fat tissue, except certain regions of our body where there is absence of fatty layer. Superficial fascia will be lacking of fatty layer, particularly in the eyelids, scrotum, layers of scrotum, penis, the labia majora, labia minora, not major, minora have no fat in that. These areas, there is no fat. But the remaining other areas we have around the heart, lot of huge fat is there. Around the abdomen, within the abdominal cavity, around anterior and posterior, lot of huge fat is there. Around the layers of peritoneum, around the kidneys, lot of fat is there. But that marma, it is not been considered as a marma vastu. It is not involved in any movements. Medas is not involved in any movements. So medas is not been considered. And majja, which is present inside the asti itself. Only when asti is injured, only majja can be affected. Without the injury of asti, there is no chance of having damage over the majja dhatu. So it doesn't require to be considered as a marma vastu, because as it is present in the stula asti visheshena majja tvabhyantarashitaha, and which is also a type of medas only, which is present in the stula astishu. And sandhi, which is a upadhatu of medo dhatu. Sandhi is a upadhatu of medo dhatu. So these structures are devoid of marma vastu, that is rasa, rakta, meda, majja and shukra. And shukra is present all over the body. In the 7th kala, where he has explained, yeah, sarva praninam sarva sharira vapini. So shukra is present all over the body, and it's very difficult to be considered or involved in the marma vastu. It is not related with this. So only these 5 structures have been involved, as a marma vastu, as these are the main gross structures in the body. So only 5 structures have been related. As if you look at into the concept of Ashtanga Hridaya, Vagbhata, he has added Dhamani Marma. Some of the marmas he has considered, Mamsa Marma, Sira Marmas have been taken, and he has been given as a Dhamani Marma. But the word term here, Sira, has to be considered as vessels. Has to be considered as vessel zone. So both arteries also fall under the Sira. So we don't require to be mentioned as a separate. That's why he has very clearly mentioned Acharya Shushruta, na kalu. Definitely, there is no doubt in that. Mamsa sira snayu asti sandhi vetireka nyanyani marmani bhavanti. Yasman na upalabhyante. You can never find beyond this in a marma vastu, as a marma vastu. These are the 5 panchatmakas of the marmas. So every marma, as we have seen, the definition of marma is that marmani nama mamsa sira snayu asti sandhi sannipatenaha, where the combination of all these structures are existed